Studios. The cinematic duo. Now, here are your hosts, Paula Perez and Trevor Kriminek.
All right. So, guessing you saw the trailer for the Fallout TV show?
Who hasn't yet?
That's a good way of putting it.
I mean, I have. It was uploaded 3 days ago on Prime Video. 11 million views so far. And I will say this. I am excited.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure how it'll turn out. I mean, but the trailer is really exciting. I'll say that much.
Yeah.
But I am a little worried. Just slightly.
Well, understandable.
Well,
what
about you?
I'm personally pretty excited for it. It's, if you ever watched Westworld, the show that was on HBO that got its 4th season, and then HBO Max immediately just took it off, which sucked because I was still watching it. Well, it's the same. I think it was the showrunner as that, and yeah, that show was just amazing. Like, it had so many like creative stories, plot twists that just were nuts. It just like, it was almost like each episode was just going, how crazy can we get? And that's pretty much that show. But it's Jonathan Nolan, who is Christopher Nolan's brother.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so I'm excited for it. The trailer didn't really give anything with story. It just was showing a whole bunch of stuff where it's like, hey, look at this. It's from the game. And
yeah, isn't that just the whole point? It was based off the game. It's not necessarily like the game, it's just based off of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's, I think what they're doing is doing kind of what trying to find an example. I mean, kind of like what Resident Evil did, where it's saying like, okay, it's based on the games, but it's something completely new, which is one of the things that scares me.
Yeah, that's why I was worried, because I mean, based on what the description says on the original video, it doesn't sound bad, but then, we don't know where it could go since it's just based off the video game. We don't really know what's going to happen.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I've played most of the games. But yeah, it was definitely like, hey, look at this, hey, look at this, hey, look at this. And then I'm like, okay, what about story? And it's only a teaser, so I expect like a story trailer to come out sooner or later. But for right now, it's like, okay, this looks awesome and I'm excited for it. But at the same time, I'm just like, this either could be amazing, or I could see this being mediocre. But the fact that it has Jonathan Nolan doing it, it's a lot calmer for me, because I'm like, oh, because Westworld was so just engaging and just so crazy that it's just like, okay, like, all right, we'll see what they do here.
I mean, they also have Lisa Joy on it. I mean, she doesn't have that much under her belt, but she did do Westworld with, Nolan.
Yeah. So Yeah, it's I'm intrigued to see what they do, and at the same time nervous on what they're gonna do.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that's how I feel. Um,
I agree. I feel that same way too. I mean, the trailer wasn't bad. I'll
mhm,
be honest with you. It
yeah.
was actually pretty exciting to see how they were gonna do everything.
Mhm.
I mean, I quite liked the robots and the explosions.
The Yeah, you see the um, nuclear explosions, but also you see the power armor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I like how it's modern day too. It's not too like
Mhm.
not too far back like in the games.
Well,
I like.
even far back in the games, it takes place in the future. It's
I mean,
just
yeah.
it's, I mean, from because it's like it was nuclear warfare that destroyed everything. It looks all like dirty and grimy, so it kind of looks like, yeah, this place hasn't been cleaned up in a while. But then you kind of forget that you're like, oh, that's right, this is supposed to be the future. Um, yeah. Personally, I I'm a big fan of the Fallout games. I haven't played the first couple. Um, 3 was cool. New Vegas was pretty cool. 4 I liked. 76, when they turned that into online, I just was like, nope.
Mm,
Um, Now we're waiting on them to do 5, which
right.
they said they were focusing on Starfield, which I did start playing that. Um, Now that that's done, they're going to work on the next Elder Scrolls game, and then after
Oh,
that, they're going to work on the next Fallout.
well, I mean, I've only seen a couple videos regarding Fallout 5, and they're not too excited about the gameplay. But I mean, it's still in development. You can't really say nothing about where it's at right now. I've
Yeah.
never really played the games. I played the first one.
Mm-hmm.
But after that, I was just mainly watching people play it.
Yeah.
So
It.
I can't say nothing about the gameplay in general.
Mm-hmm. Well,
But
the 1 and 2, they're it's different because it was a different developer. And then what ended up happening was, as they're working on the third one, that company ended up going bankrupt. So
oh,
then they sold the rights to, it was a Bethesda Game Studios, who then took on um, the games from 3 until now. Um, so
oh,
they're very different. Where like 1 and 2, they're very much like point and click kind of games.
mm-hmm.
Then yeah, 3 and 4, they're like first and third person games. And they are quite cool. And there's definitely some moments in those games that uh, are very memorable, and then some at the same time are just completely just fucked up. Like the vaults, they um there's because it's in each game, you'll find some vaults in on the map, and
Mm-hmm.
some of the stories in there are just like, oh my god, this is just crazy. Like somebody made a video of it. There was there was a vault that had, I think, 999 men and only 1 woman.
Oh my
And
god.
then the next one, it was the opposite. It was 999 women and 1 man. Um, yeah, and then they even said the whole point of the vaults was in the beginning supposed to be, um, yeah, used for shelter if nuclear war happens, but in actuality, they would, because of the world's population at the time, they would had to build, I think, like thousands and thousands and thousands of vaults, but instead they only made like 120 of them, and a lot of them were used as experiments.
Oh,
um like for example, the vault you enter in 4, it actually has a cryogenic chamber. So the start of that one is you actually you are in, like, back in I think it was the 50s and 60s, and then you then enter the vault, and you then get in the cryogenic chamber, and then you're frozen for like 200 years. So then you wake up and everything is just destroyed around you. There was one of the creepiest ones was, I don't think I ran into this one. It was they put a guy and a crate full of puppets into a vault.
Oh, my.
And the experiment was to see if this person can like pretty much live by himself in complete isolation. But then he started going like crazy, to then the puppets started apparently talking to him.
Oh.
So yeah, and then just basically lost his mind. There was one that I actually, it was in the third one, and I remember going to this one and just, yeah, this one was just messed up. You go into this vault and you find out that there's a cloning facility in it, and there's only one guy in there, but he cloned himself multiple times.
Oh,
so now there's clones named Gary in there, and they're actually threatening towards non-clones, and the only thing that they say is Gary. That's the only say they, yeah, and it's like it's messed up, but you're like, there's parts where I'm like trying to sneak around, and they're just saying like, oh, Gary, and it's just like, yeah, nope, you're gonna get shot in the face. But the another one I found was in New Vegas, and you go into the vault, and then you look at the computer from the beginning, and the vault, they had to sacrifice one person per year or everyone would die, and it was decided by voting systems. So, and everything was normal except for the killing person per year part. But then after a year, everybody didn't want to kill each other. So 5 people made a pact to not do anything and to commit suicide. But then you then go further into the vault, and you find you can hack a system, and when you hack it, it actually tells you the real story, and that the real story was, after a year, no one had died because the computer was going against programming, and that's what it wanted. It wanted basically to everyone to defy the rules that it said. And then people started just going crazy and killing each other, to then that 5 group of people, 4 out of them did commit suicide, and then 1 left, and you don't know who that person is, you don't know what happened to them, so they left.
Dang. That's
a lot of the vaults are just like, this is messed up. And yeah, like I said, there's parts in the games where and their storytelling is right on par, and moments that I look back at and I'm just like, yeah, that was messed up, or that was super memorable, that it will be stuck in my head forever. Like running into those vaults. And yeah, it's just,
I'm speechless. I don't know what to say. All that is just creepy,
mm-hmm.
weird, just shocking is the word I'm trying to go for. But oh my god.
Well, yeah. So it's it's a fun series, especially if you like, like role playing style games. It's, they're shoot 'em up role playing games. So I think if you're into that, the series is definitely for you. And one thing about these type of games is that you can, it's it's fun, but at the same time, depending on the kind of person you are, it is fun to just be a sarcastic jerk. Like, there's so many times where somebody's talking to me and I just want to say the most sarcastic things, and I'm just like, I don't want to say that, like, because it might affect something. Like, in four takes place in Boston, and the I forget what the Boston baseball stadium is there. I forget what it's called, but it's now in the game. It's actually now a place where everybody can go, and it's basically like a shopping place, staying location. But there was a part where um, there was a guy who was sitting kind of in the market, and he's like, I need a soda. And yeah, it was Nuka Cola, which was well, actually, what's funny about that, is I'll get into it in a little bit. But yeah, he's just like, I need a Nuka Cola. So then I said the sarcastic response to that, which was, drink some water, you boon. And yeah, it was sarcastic. To then my companion who was there was just like, oh, don't be that way. Give him what he wants. I'm like, I was gonna do it. Like, calm down.
Jeez.
Yeah, like, whatever. I was gonna do it. But yeah, so Nuka Cola, it's obviously play on Coca Cola, but they actually um the they they said that the founder of that company, they said the name, and it's actually amalgamation of the creators of Coca Cola and Pepsi.
Really?
Yeah. Um, yeah. Let me see if I can find it really quick. Yeah, I didn't know that until like I saw like a facts video, and I'm like, oh, that's funny. Yeah. Yeah, Nuka Cola entered the beverage market in 2044 with the invention of the soft drink by John Caleb Bradburton. John Pemberton was the creator of Coca Cola, and Caleb Bradham was the creator of Pepsi. So they were very much going like, hey, wink wink kind of thing, which I think is funny.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. There's a lot of things in the Fallout games that I love, that they put so much detail and like time into that, like like giving each vault its own story, and basically them saying like, hey, let's just get nuts, let's get crazy, and let's get dark. And that's what they did. And there's some side missions in there that I'm just like, yeah, wow, I might need a shower after that. But it's I mean, the games are just they're fun. Like for Fallout New Vegas, um, the story of that one is you get killed by a like Vegas gangster, and you're then brought back to life. So then you're starting to like piece together what happened, and you then eventually find out who killed you, and basically you'll get revenge for that.
Mm-hmm.
But you actually, that one is obviously, it takes place in Nevada, and yeah, you get to go to um uh like some places there, like yes, you actually get to go to Vegas, and it's still standing, and you walk on to the strip, but it's all new. um there's like a little like shanty town that's outside of the gates, and you kind of actually, you have to have a membership to get into Vegas, which you'll
Mm-hmm.
eventually get. But some of the clan, or some of like the groups they have in the Fallout universe is actually kind of interesting. Like in New Vegas, there's a group called the Kings, and they all dress up like Elvis Presley.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So.
Elvis Presley?
Mm-hmm. Well,
Is it at
he
least like
was.
a different type of Elvis Presley with every single one,
They
or
all
just the
they all
same?
kind of they all kind of look like him, but the person that is the leader, he calls himself the king, and through plastic surgery, he made him look like Elvis.
Oh,
So he's almost like an impersonator, because that's something like in Vegas, you'll find Elvis impersonators,
oh, fair enough. Yeah.
and so that was that whole thing. Um, you'll find a group called a Caesar's Legion, and it's a whole bunch of people that look like they came out of like the medieval um, times, and it's like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, or no, I'm sorry, not
Medieval
medieval.
times. What are you talking about?
Yeah, no, not
What?
medieval. More of um like the Julius Caesar times.
Ah, there you go.
Trying to think of like Roman.
Roman. You use
Roman.
Roman, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like that. Like everyone is like, looks like they're like Roman warriors. So it's like, okay, that's kind of interesting,
That's
I guess.
interesting. A little.
Um, but yeah, so there's a lot of cool stuff. There's a lot of interesting stuff, and yeah, and side missions that are just like, yeah, this is just messed up. Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'll be honest with you. I don't really remember any of the people that I watched playing Fallout ever get into one of those scenarios. But
Mm-hmm.
hearing about it now, I'm kind of glad I didn't. I feel like I'd get scarred a little too young, hearing everything that you've explained.
Well, I mean, there's a side mission in 4. I mean, I've played it and replayed 4 a couple of times, and I've only did this mission once because I keep forgetting where to find it. It's you find a a UFO that is crashed, but it's away from everybody, so it's like in its own section, and everybody like doesn't care to go to it. So then you then go to it, and you find an alien, and you kill the alien, and you harvest, and you get its gun, and it's like almost like kind of like Mars Attacks, where it's like one of those like ray guns.
Oh.
So then you just have a ray gun now. And And even playing some of the like expansions they did, like for 4, um, there was one expansion in there called Far Harbor, and in the game you meet up with a detective, and he gets a case to go to a family residence to find their missing kid. To
Mm-hmm.
then you find out that the kid is went to this place called Far Harbor, and you go there, and it's pretty much like I always like to see it as do you know some of like H.P. Lovecraft stories?
Yes, I do.
Do you know anything about Shadow over Innsmouth?
Yes.
Think of it like that. It like that town. Like it's just foggy. There's like no one there, and it's just like creatures and like just crazy things just everywhere. Like think of it like that. And that
Oh,
that one was just really cool because
okay.
I'm a big Lovecraft fan anyway. So when I went into that town, I was just like, this is so like almost like Lovecraft
I
stuff.
mean, yeah. Shadow over Innsmouth. I mean, Innsmouth or Innsmouth?
Uh, Innsmouth or Innsmouth. It's spelled Innsmouth, but it's Innsmouth.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, just alone some of the covers to the book, because I know it changes.
yeah.
I mean, the towns do look like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Well,
I wouldn't say there's like goblin looking sea creatures coming out of the sea and Fallout, but I mean, who knows?
well, that's something I love about Lovecraft stories is that he definitely he does like very like mystical monster type stuff, and then
Mm-hmm.
you're reading all this like just horrific things, and then when it hits the end, you're just like, oh well, shit, that sucks.
I mean, it does. I mean, I only own one of his books. I've read some.
Mm-hmm.
There's some on like audio,
Yeah,
but the only one that I've ever really read was The Call of Cthulhu. That
yeah.
was,
Well, even
mm,
the kind of the end of that, like the retelling of them finding the city. It's just like,
mm-hmm.
yeah, they all died, and yeah, he's just like, yeah, I injured him, but you can't really kill an elder god now, can you?
I mean, even if you tried,
Yeah.
you still could.
But even like the end of that story, the main character, he's afraid for his life because
Mm-hmm.
he like believes that he knows too much. But yeah, like I mean, like the Shadow over Innsmouth, the ending for that is just like, oh well, damn, that
Well
sucks.
then,
Um, there's the Shadow Out of Time. You read that one?
yes, I have.
Oh my god, just the end of that one is just like, oh, that sucks to be you, dude. It's, yeah. So and even like some of his like shorter stories like Cool Air, um which do you know about that one?
The one you just the Shadow Out of Time.
No, Cool Air.
That's the only one I don't know.
Ooh,
Surprisingly.
that one that one is about a guy who lives in an apartment complex, and he um, realizes that there is a doctor above in the apartment room above him. To then one day he has a heart attack. He races upstairs to uh, uh, see the doctor, and the doctor treats him and everything. but the doctor's room is like freezing cold, like almost like an ice house. And he's like, yeah, what's going on here? It's like, oh, it's for like my chemicals and stuff like that I'm working on. To um, then one day the doctor calls the guy up, and he says like, yeah, my like cooling radiator broke, and I need you to go race to go get ice. So then he keeps going and keeps going, keeps going and keeps going. To then when he comes back, the whole apartment place is like outside the guy's door, and the main character, he was actually paying somebody to go and fetch more ice for him.
Oh.
To then the guy he was paying goes in and is so scared he like runs out. So then the guy then goes in, and he sees this like just like disgusting like substance that's like all over the floor, and it was in like the bathroom, and then it went, he notices that it goes from the bathroom to like the middle of the room, to then he finds this blob, and then he notices that there's a note being written, and the note is from the doctor saying, well, the reason why it's like this is because the doctor was actually dead the whole time, and he was able to stave off death by keeping his room like cold like that. But because his radiator broke, and temperatures kept rising, death came for him, and it ended that way. I was like, oh, well, that sucks.
I am reading a little bit into the plot. It does say that he was dead for 18 years, but he had kept himself preserved in his own apartment.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's like the same thing with if you freeze a dead body, they'll look they'll look the same as when they were just got frozen, and even though somebody say like, actually they've been dead for like 2 years, and it's like, oh, well, they look like they're just asleep. It's like, yeah, that's the power of freezer. So yeah,
I mean okay,
yeah, it's yeah, it was one of those stories that I was just like, oh well, whoops, that sucks. But yeah, like from like, I think the stories that he did that really stuck with me was Call of Cthulhu. That was definitely one. Shadow over Innsmouth, Shadow Out of Time, the Dunwich Horror, because that was just weird. And then when you think it's like something happens that's like, oh well, that's got to be the end, it's like, nope, that's only halfway through. And so you're like, oh shit, it gets worse.
It always gets worse. There's really no good ending with H.P. Lovecraft, I'll be honest with you.
Nope. Nope, not at all. Yeah, the Dunwich Horror, that one is it takes place in a town called Dunwich, and there's a family that lives there that they pretty much cut themselves away from the rest of civilization. Sometimes they have to go into town to like get stuff, but everyone thinks like, yeah, they're just weird. And there's like pretty much like the old like almost patriarch, I would say, of them, who is pretty much just like into the occult, which, as you do. To then his daughter, who's kind of like the way they kind of describe her as almost like a like she was a crack addict and she's just getting off of it, so she's still kind of skittish.
Crack addict. All right. So she's
that,
going through it.
Yeah, I mean she's not on drugs, but it's the way they kind of say it. But she has a kid, and this kid starts rapidly aging. Like in the story they said like he looked like he was 10 by the time that he was actually 4 years old. And then by the time that he hit like 12, he already looked like he was an adult.
Wow.
So yeah, he's like growing rapidly. So they're like, yeah, this is kind of weird. Yeah. And then, yeah, halfway through the story, something happens. I won't say it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like, oh well, oh boy. And it's like, whoa, I guess that's the end there. And then they just went, nope. And so then something happens in the town, and yeah, it just gets nuts. And the ending for that, it's not like the other stories where it's just like, oh wow, that sucks, but it's more of a like, yay, we did it, but we still got to process what happened, kind of thing.
Yeah, it's really hard to process anything with H.P. Lovecraft. I'll be honest with you. I'm still thinking about the Call of Cthulhu to this day.
Well, I still think of Shadow Out of Time. There's a group out there that I would highly recommend. They're the H.P. Lovecraft Historical Society, and they do like almost like radio show versions of his stories, and they're actually pretty cool. I have like I think almost all of them, and they tell the stories quite well. And so when you're reading him and you're just like, oh wow, that's messed up, in here you'll actually like hear the monsters, and sometimes it's like, oh shit. So then you're just on edge. Yeah, and then that's how I got into that's how pretty much I got into Lovecraft. It was them, but also the video game Call of Cthulhu Dark Corners of the Earth.
Yes.
Yeah, that's another one I got into. And man, I remember, I think I was like 7 or 8 years old or something like that. I was at my dad's house, and he played it one night, and not really getting what was going on, but yeah, I remember there was a part in it where you end up going to Innsmouth, and I had listened to that radio show version of Innsmouth, and to actually see it kind of in a video game, it's just like, yeah, this is pretty much like exactly what I pictured it as. And it's like, okay, that's kind of cool. And what's funny is that in the video game, all the residents, like, they all talk like this. What's funny is that in the actual radio version, they kind of do the same thing. So it's pretty funny. Yeah, and there's like little funny bits that I keep thinking of every now and then. But yeah, like like the whole part in Shadow over Innsmouth where he's in the hotel room and he's escaping. Like they do that so well. So like there's parts in there where he's explaining like I did this and then I heard slight noises and then you hear like little creaks in there and then you start hearing footsteps and then you start hearing keys rattling to then eventually you just hear bangs on doors and it's like oh shit kind of thing. It's not like reading it where they're saying like then I heard doors banging and you're just like oh boy, when in this you're actually hearing it and you're just like oh crap, like this is insane. Then the bangs just get more frequent and then he then goes into another room and then proceeds to try and go into another room but then hears banging from that door and so it's just crazy. And but even the Shadow Out of Time one, the last act in that one where he's in the cave and he's trying to get the book and then as he's trying to escape it was the Great Race. He's explaining that they're basically all around him. Well, in the radio one, they actually made like sounds that they make, and it's just like, oh hell no. It's just like no. And that whole part, like you hear like him like running footsteps, and then you hear those things like echoing because it's a cave, and it's like some are like pretty far, so you can kind of gauge how far they are, but then there's some that are like right in your ears, and you're just like nope.
No, because just wearing headphones, hearing that, I could never. I'd be scared I'd be looking around and be like, who the fuck?
And then that was actually the first one I actually I got into that story because of that radio show, and I was just like, oh hell no, man, this is just not right. And I definitely recommend them. It's the H.P. Lovecraft Historical Society, and the radio thing they do is called Dark Adventure Radio Theater. Highly recommend them. And they're actually even though this is not a plug-in for them, just saying as a fan, their actual store is in California. I think it's in around Burbank.
Oh, that's a nice place to put a story in.
And it's insane.
Well, speaking of weird, creepy water monsters.
Oh god. Hold on. Do you want to hear what the sound they make is?
God.
Because I got it.
Just play it.
Hold on. I'm trying to get to it real quick. Okay. So just imagine like you're hearing the story like as usual. To then all of a sudden you hear this. You hear that.
I don't know how I would feel.
Yeah, I think it was like a amalgamation of like multiple different sounds that they used, but it's like kind of like what Jurassic Park did with the T-Rexes. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but when you're reading the story, you don't really, I mean, you can't obviously hear what it sounds like. It's just like, oh, they're just closing in, So it depends on how you're reading it, but to actually hear it, you're just like, oh shit, like nope.
Nope.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Mm-mm.
and there's parts where I mean, I turned it up, but it's pretty much like in the background, so you can kind of gauge how far it is. But there's parts in that, I mean, it's it's a little bit because it's the very end, or it gets the climax of the story, and it's just like, oh hell no, they're like all around you. It's and and what really sucks about it is that you can hear them but you can't see them.
That's even worse.
So it's worse.
It's worse. They're invisible.
I mean, they're not invisible in the story, but
Right.
you're listening to an adaptation of it, so it's you're on edge even more because you're just like, I don't see them. They explain what they look like, but to just hear them, it's just like, oh hell no. And yeah, um, yeah, nope. So yeah, he's just like, yeah, so I got it, and then started walking, and then a moment after, boom, you hear that, and you're just like, oh hell no. To then he's just like, then he started racing and racing and racing, and then after I accidentally dropped it, and then you hear it louder, and then the protagonist says like, there was a moment that I realized that the sounds weren't behind me but ahead of me. So then you're like, oh shit, so they're all around you.
Yeah, that's fucking creepy.
Mm-hmm.
That's so creepy. Because you just hear them, but you don't really realize how close of vicinity they really are to you.
Oh yeah. And that's, I mean, and then especially the end, because the end is, he gets out, and but he dropped the book that he was trying to get, and he can't find the door again because it's in the dunes of Australia. But when he looked at the book, he flipped through the pages, he noticed that it wasn't touched since man walked the earth, so like 200,000 years. And then he noticed that it was his handwriting, and the story just ends that way. And you're like, wow. Oh, that sucks. Let's hope he has some sanity rolls.
I mean, at this rate, he hasn't done it.
Yeah. Well, and then at the end of the story, you're just kind of left with, well, what's happened to this guy now that he knows this? Like, does he keep on, almost like living life like nothing happened, but it's a little bit hard for him to do that. So so it's just crazy. And then some cases, like in Color Out of Space, they actually add stuff and makes it more messed up. Like like Color Out of Space. Like, do you know that one? That's the one where it is about a guy who goes to this like pretty much like rundown place, and they're gonna build a water reservoir, and he meets this like farmer who has been there for maybe a little too long, and he says like the reason why everything is like all like deserted and everything is all crappy, and then retells the story that he had a neighbor, and there was a meteorite that crashed in front of his neighbor's property, and it was like, you know, super big, and then throughout the coming days, lightning struck it, and then the meteor started shrinking.
Oh.
And they open it up and they find like a glob of a color that they can't they can't tell what color it is, because to them it's just like, I've never seen a color like this before. And yeah, to them they hit it and it just like evaporates. To then everything, like it affects the water, it affects the soil and all that stuff. And yeah, then the neighbors then just become infected by it. To then some of them go crazy, and or I'm sorry, they all go crazy. To then at the end, or not at the end, but the main character who's retelling the story goes and visits, and pretty much finds the patriarch just, you know, just loony, pretty much just like, oh, everything is okay, you know, everything's fine, but why is your house glowing? That's okay, it's all fine. Yeah, listen, where's your wife? Oh, she's upstairs in the attic. Wait, why? Like, oh, she's not there anymore. And it's like, okay, can we go see her? It's like, okay. So they go upstairs and they go, he goes upstairs to the attic, and he finds the wife like sit pretty much in the corner, and she has that like color, like pretty much like just like all over her. So because it was affecting the soil and the water, it actually was poisoning all of it, and they were eating everything, they were drinking all the water, so it was basically infecting them from the inside. So then all of them die, but then the end of the story is all the color, it basically shot out of a water well that they had, and it went back up into space. But the main character, he then says like, yeah, but this is something I didn't tell to anybody, that when all of it was rising up, there was a little piece of the color that wasn't at the same like it dropped back into the well, so technically the water in the soil is still poisoned. And they're just like, oh, well, it ends like that? Like, well, shit. But
yeah,
but the fucking historical society made it worse. They tell the story like they find like a couple of people, they find a old file that is the events. So like the person that went out to go investigate the area, they find out that like this person was just like, I'm staying away from the area now and all that stuff. So then they're reading it and they're like, oh, well, this is crazy. Like, somebody needs to tell this. So then their supervisor comes in and goes like, oh, what are you looking at? Like, oh, we found this old file. Like, we need to get this sorted. And it's like, so when was that? And they said like, oh, it was from this date. And they just went, oh, you might as well throw it out. Like, it actually, that reservoir, it's now built. And it applies water to the whole town, or to the whole city. In fact, you're drinking it right now.
Oh.
And that's the end. That's the way they ended it. And I'm just like, oh, you guys suck. So
what a cliffhanger! That's horrible. And you just be like,
so
it's poison.
So yeah, you're basically just like, oh, so everybody's screwed. Okay, great. Because yeah, the original story, it just kind of leaves like you don't know if it got built. You don't know what happened to the guy. Oh yeah, and the guy committed suicide.
Oh no, that's not fun.
Yeah, they were just like, oh yeah, he killed himself after the thing was built, because he was trying to basically tell them, do not build this, but one man versus a corporation, good luck.
Yeah,
and yeah, they built it. It's just like, you're drinking it from it right now. Like, here you go. And it's like, oh shit. So yeah, they are awesome, and yeah, they put a lot of time and effort and definitely creepiness to everything they do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, holy crap. Yeah. I mean, the first times I've heard some of their stories, like that Shadow Out of Time, I was just like, oh hell no. Like, nope. Now I've gotten, past it, but it's just like, nope. This is just no. So,
just nope.
But yeah, speaking of like big giant, I guess, creatures, hopefully not as freaky or scary. The trailer for Godzilla vs. Kong 2 came out.
Yes.
So what did you think of it?
I'm actually really excited for this one. I think you should know that Godzilla Minus One is in theaters right now until the 14th of December. Yep. That's a scary Godzilla. I don't know. That's like a whole different. That's not a part of the American one. That's a whole Japanese movie. So that's the Japanese Godzilla.
Yeah.
So the Godzilla X Kong, the new Empire, is. I'm not sure what they're threatened by. They don't really explain what they're going to go up against in the trailer.
Yeah.
But what I am assuming, it's going to be that little ginger gorilla thing, which, again, might be Son of Kong. It might be a different thing. Because Kong itself does have its own lore from the older movies.
Yeah.
But it kind of just seems like they're going to be fighting a big ape that's kind of like Kong.
Yeah.
And Godzilla and Kong are going to be fighting against it. That's literally the entire movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
that's literally
it. The thing is that I would have a better understanding of what's going on if I saw some of the previous films.
I mean, you'd have to start.
I saw the first Godzilla movie, which I liked. Not a lot of Godzilla, but I did like it.
Okay, fair enough.
I did see, was it the Skull Island?
King of the Monsters? Is it that one?
No, it was Kong Skull Island.
Okay.
Yeah, that one I liked. I think there was a lot in it that I'm like, yeah, you guys could have done a little bit better with, but overall, it's just like, okay, this ain't bad. And yeah, I didn't see Godzilla King of Monsters. I didn't see the first Godzilla vs. Kong. So yeah.
Yeah, you gotta watch the entire thing to understand what's going on in the new movie. I mean, at least watch Godzilla vs. Kong. Because then Godzilla vs. Kong, the new Empire, will make sense, right? I mean, it's really not that. I mean, I could summarize it. It's really not that much. I mean, obviously you're missing out the action and stuff, but it really is just Godzilla vs. Kong, and then some random Mecha Godzilla comes in the middle, and then they're just like, oh, okay, you know what? Maybe you're not that bad, and that's the entire movie.
Oh, so it's Batman v Superman all over again.
Yeah. So basically, they hate each other. They fight for half the movie, and then Kong disappears for a while because he got transported to his his world where he's king.
Oh, Skull Island.
There you go. Well, not Skull Island. They actually go to Antarctica where there's a portal that leads him to somewhere, and that's where he gets his fancy axe. He has an axe now. It's like a magical axe that he uses.
Yeah, you lost me.
Yeah, yeah.
What?
Like I said, you have to watch the movie for it to make sense. But yeah, he doesn't go to, I mean, I guess it just looks like Skull Island in a way.
Yeah.
And then he finds his axe.
Okay.
And that makes him, king, whatever. Not the point.
But it doesn't
go ahead.
No, I was about to say, like, it doesn't sound like they it's an hour and a half until they eventually fight, and they only fight for 5 minutes, which would be the best part of the movie. And then they find out that both their mother's names are Martha, and then all of a sudden, oh, you're cool.
Basically.
It doesn't sound like that, though.
Oh, I mean, the only reason they stopped fighting is because the American government was making Mecha Godzilla using old remnants of an old Godzilla that they found. And then they both were like, all right, we gotta fight this thing.
We got a common enemy now. Let's put our differences aside and let's just do this.
Yeah. And towards the end of the movie, they just kind of yell at each other. And they all are separate ways, leaving the whole town. I think it's New York, if I'm not wrong.
It usually is.
It usually is. I'm not 100% sure. It most likely is New York, knowing them. Yeah. It's either New York or Washington, one of the two. Honestly, it's always either or.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's typically when it comes to like the monster films, it's always New York, and especially with Godzilla, when they did the '90s one for America, piece of shit, by the way. Yeah, that one was in New York, and then King Kong has always been New York.
Mm-hmm.
So it would just make sense.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 100% New York.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's basically Godzilla versus Kong. There really wasn't much other than them just introducing Kong into this universe, I guess. And then the new empire is really just, again, them two joining up to fight this other ginger-looking monkey.
Well, I think they said that that was actually supposed to be Kong as a child.
Really?
That's what I heard. I heard that was a rumor. I don't know if that's true or not. And then the parts where it looks like Godzilla went all Barbie-like with the colors.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It was just kind of like, okay, I don't know what's happening here because I haven't seen the previous film, so okay, just go with it.
We'll just go with it. Yeah, apparently it's supposed to be an undiscovered colossal. So that's where we're at. Actually, from the trailer, it really doesn't give me anything hinting at what the colossal might look like. That's why I kind of just went towards like maybe it's just this ginger monkey. But you're right, it could just be Godzilla. Maybe you are right. I'm not too sure. They don't really go into it because obviously they're not trying to, reveal the entire movie in one trailer.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm excited because I don't know where this is going. Obviously, it was kind of funny seeing both of them run right next to each other.
I saw so many memes about that. Like, I think I saw somebody Photoshop both of them when there was the scene in Avengers Infinity War in the trailer where they're all running.
Oh, and
somebody Photoshopped them both in there.
I mean, it's canon. I mean, Godzilla he did fight both in the Marvel and the DC comics. So, I mean, either way.
Yeah, back when both Marvel and DC did not give a shit.
No.
I mean,
they came out with a new one. I think it's Marvel. Came out with 2 new comics regarding Godzilla fighting the Avengers.
No, I mean, if you want to look at just absurd like crossovers, look at Superman. I mean, they had one where Superman teams up with Nesquik bunny.
The Nesquik bunny.
Yeah, look it up. It's real. I mean, it's just insane.
Yes, Superman has proven an apt character mixed with bizarre characters. The comic was promotional made by DC and Nestle and written by Mike Carlin, who helped push the first Marvel DC crossover and co-create the Death of Superman series. Superman meets the Quick Bunny is a little more lighthearted, with the bunny and his Quick Club kids helping Superman catch the Weather Wizard.
Yep.
It ends with a quick drinking contest, of course.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's probably what they were doing while writing that thing.
Probably. They probably had a little bit more than just Nesquik in that cup, though, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, probably. They spiked
we got He-Man, too.
Yep.
That's great. We got Terminator, Tarzan, Top Cat, which is really just a cat with a top hat.
You never watched Top Cat?
No, I've never watched Top Cat.
He was pretty much like this, like almost like a detective.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, back when Boomerang was awesome and they were actually rerunning like old like cartoons back in the day. Nowadays they just pretty much rerun their Cartoon Network shows that all suck.
Fair enough.
Yeah, they just do. Where is it?
We have Muhammad Ali. I mean, I know Top Cat is the same creator as the Flintstones, no?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, that's as much as I know. But that looks like it's the majority of them. I don't know why Superman had to have so many strange crossovers.
Because Superman was a moneymaker.
No, fair enough.
But, yeah, so, well, moral of the story is, you know, that was back when DC and Marvel just didn't know what they were doing and just going like, well, let's just do this. Let's just have the Avengers fight Godzilla. Let's have Superman fight Kong. Let's just do it. Why? It makes no sense. We don't care.
We don't know.
Let's boost sales.
Next year, they're going to be doing some like random Dragon Ball Z thing with him. I don't know.
Oh boy.
I mean, I think it's a little too late. I think after
do we need another Dragon Ball movie?
After they removed Henry Cavill, I don't know if they want to talk about Superman right now. I think everybody's still a little ticked off about it.
Well, I mean, Cavill said that he's pretty much done.
Fair enough.
And now that they're doing the next, was it like Superman Legacy movie that's coming out, not next year but the year after. They're trying to find a new Superman. Because it's gonna be kind of like almost like Batman Year One, where it was his first year being Batman. This is gonna be kind of like Superman starting out to be Superman. Why would they need to do that when the show Smallville did it already? And yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
So, I don't know. Did you ever check out Smallville?
I did.
Yeah, it was basically like Superman becoming Superman. And
yeah, basically. That's basically what it is.
Yeah, so I don't know why they would need to do like a prequel when that show did it already.
Yeah, I know that maybe because they want to like revamp it, but it was already a pretty good show.
Money.
It ran for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. When it comes to like the DC stuff and like Marvel stuff right now, I think right now they're in kind of a weird place. DC is just kind of, I mean, they said that Blue Beetle was kind of the start of the new DC EU, because Flash was supposed to end the original universe and also kickstart it because it was like the multiverse thing. And it sucks to say, but I've talked to a lot of people and not one said that they saw Blue Beetle.
Wow.
Not
you know
one.
what? It's on HBO Max, and I've been meaning to watch it, but I don't know. It's just another knockoff Iron Man.
I mean, something I'm doing for December is, I try to do it every year for December, is to watch all the movies that I missed over the year.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just watched 2 movies. Like one was a horror movie that I wound up to see, like that came out like right when Barbie and Oppenheimer came out, and so yeah, that thing was pretty much just gone by
Oh,
like week 2, so I
dang.
couldn't go see it. But I watched it and I was just like, this is so good, and I'm like, that totally sucked. And then the other one was that one was this one called Cobweb. Uh, re- Really good. I highly
Hmm.
recommend that one. And the other one was I knew so many people that said that the movie was terrible and possibly one of the worst. It was one of the worst films of the year, and it was possibly one of the worst movies ever made. But
Oh,
I was still intrigued, and I knew I'd probably be wasting my time, but I decided to check it out anyway. And now, after I saw it, I hate myself.
oh God. I want to know what movie this is now. Like, what is it? What happened?
Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
Oh, no, you did not watch that.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Oh,
It's okay.
what is
So,
it?
all right. So, from it, did you see the trailer for that?
I
Okay.
did.
Okay. What do you think the story is?
I'm guessing it's just the whole gang trying to kill Christopher Robin. No?
Okay. Here's what
No?
I thought it was. I thought it was about um, murderers who dress up the the characters,
Uh-huh.
and are trying to like maybe kill Christopher Robin, like because maybe he told everybody like, yeah, this is real, so they're just making fun of him for that, like that kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
No, you were told in the first 5 minutes that Christopher Robin, when he was a kid, he walked into the woods and saw them. It wasn't like the Christopher Robin movie that Disney did. No, where it was all in his imagination and he had like the stuffed animals and they came to life through his
Mm-hmm.
imagination. It's not like that at all. This movie tries to tell you that, oh, these creatures, so like Winnie the Pooh, Piglet, was it Igor, um,
Yeah. Uh,
the owl, and oh shit, there was a fifth one, rabbit.
Rabbit. I
Um,
don't remember any of their names, but yes,
yeah,
I know what you're talking about.
um,
Yeah.
they're not imaginary,
Oh,
but they are animal human hybrids
oh no.
that were
No.
apparently cut off away from civilization because they were animal human hybrids. So
That's
he befriended them, he gave them food and was hanging out with them all the time. Then when he grew up, he had to leave to go to college. And then that's when all of them basically said, "Oh, you abandoned us, you didn't give us food," and they basically create a pact to eat. It was the Igor, and they basically hate Christopher Robin and hate humans.
huh.
And so, yeah. Um, but here's where I started losing it. You only see Pooh and Piglet. You don't see the others. Um, yeah, like I said, they killed off Igor, and fuck it, I'm spoiling it. I don't give a shit. This movie was so bad. Um,
I'm not gonna watch it. I don't care.
oh my
I don't.
god. Oh my god. No, I wouldn't even recommend doing that. Um, but it's only the 2 of them. Like you don't see any of the others when they introduce the other ones. So like, yeah, this one was here, this one was here. So you're like, okay, what happened to them? Like what
Yeah.
happened?
Where are they?
Yeah, like where are they? Did you guys like not have anything? This is one of those movies that they said, "Hey, we have the money to have a lot of like the gore effects and stuff like that. Oh shit, we spent all the money on doing all the basic gore stuff they can basically get at like a Spirit Halloween store. Oh no, what are we gonna
Oh.
do? Well, let's throw in a bunch of obvious CGI effects that look like you can do in After Effects in 30 minutes. Let's have actors not act and you know be over dramatic as hell, explain so many things out loud that you're just like, yeah, no shit. And let's get Edward Scissorhands to do the editing for this movie, and that would go right. Because yeah, the editing in this movie is just atrocious. I mean, but there's a part where all it's it's the main story. It's about a group of friends. They go to um, almost like the cabin, um, and they're being stalked by Pooh and Piglet. But
Yeah.
they first get there and they're like, okay, no phones. Like we're cut off away from civilization. And so they all eventually do it. So all of them hand in their phones. The next scene, one of them is in their room doing Instagram posts with their phone. To then the next shot is them coming downstairs and them grabbing their phone. So you're like, whoa, what just happened? Like, so you left your phone and then you had your phone and then you didn't have your phone. Like, what just happened there? Did I just have a stroke? What happened? And and there was, let's just say this is one of those movies where I was asking questions, and then throughout it, as I was continuing, because something I don't like to do is when I'm watching a bad movie, I keep pausing it, which then makes the movie longer. Like
Right.
when I watched it was The Spirit, which don't watch that. It's a piece of crap. The movie is, I believe it was like an hour and 40 minutes long. I kept pausing it to the point where it took me, I think, 4 hours to watch it. Because I was just so just complex. I was so just confused on what the hell they were doing. This was kind of like that. The movie was only like an hour and 20 minutes long, but I started pausing it to then I had to stop myself. And in the process, I kept asking questions to then halfway through asking my question, I just went, screw it, whatever. So like there were so many parts where I was going like, wait, what? Why is this? Oh, fuck it. Like, because I was just like, oh wait, I forgot.
They got teleporters in that movie. They had more budget to go to Party City than they did to edit their own movie.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
and the audacity that they're gonna make a second one. Nope.
A second one.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
That popular?
Apparently they didn't get the message on like, oh, our movie it's one of the worst of the years, but people are putting it on the worst movies of all time list. Awesome. We need to make another one. Yeah, that's what you do.
Memo.
Yeah, they didn't understand the memo. So, oh my god. Yeah, that film, I would definitely agree. I would put it in, I think it is the worst film of the year. Put it in the worst films of all time. Maybe. Yeah, it's just there were so many things about it that I hated, and then when it was done, I was just like, I need a break. So luckily, I watched Cobweb first. I watched a really good movie first, and then I watched that film because I don't think if I watched Winnie the Pooh first, I don't think I would have watched anything else after that, and I didn't. I was just like, I'm done. I'm done.
I also give up.
Yeah.
Had I watched that movie?
Yeah, I don't. People they say like, oh, you give it an hour and then if you still can't take it, then turn it off. I don't do that. I always watch it all the way through. And, sometimes I go, you know what? Oh, well, I did it. And then sometimes I look at myself and just go, what the hell did you just do, you idiot?
Yeah, it has you contemplating life a little bit.
Yeah. I'm just like, you could have watched another film and instead you watched this. Like, what is wrong with you?
Could have been any other film, but you decided today.
Yeah.
Today. But of all days.
What especially sucked is that I went into it knowing people were saying it was terrible, and yet I went into it anyway. So it's like I didn't get the memo. Like, people were telling me, like, you need to stay away, and I just went, nah, whatever, and I brushed them aside and then watched it, and I was just like, wow, I should have listened.
Some people just learn the hard way.
Like failure.
Yep. I mean, obviously these guys didn't learn from the first time. They might have to learn after the second movie not to keep continuing to make Winnie the Pooh horror movies.
I mean, we have 2 Terrifier movies, and not either one has a good story. They have premises, but they don't go forward with that. They just go forward with the gore, and for some reason they're doing a third one, and I'm just like, why?
Listen, I think they're just trying to milk the clown as much as they can. The movie's horrible. The clown costume is not bad.
Honestly, the clown, the best parts of those 2 movies were the gore was pretty top notch. I'll give it that. But also, the clown actually, like, stopped being a killer and was actually, like, being a comedic clown. Those, like, little burst moments I actually had fun with, because I'm going, like, okay, they actually are showing the clown side of this killer clown, and I'm like, okay, that's actually kind of enjoyable. Like, all right, you got that down. But everything else is just, what are you doing? Whatever. But I know there's fans of those movies, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm not one of them. Like,
me either.
I don't get it. But oh well.
I get scared easily, like so easily. But honestly, Terrifier wasn't really that bad.
Yeah, it was just I was just kind of going, like, really, this is what you did. Like, okay, whatever. And I'm expecting 3 to have little to no story and just overtop the second one with gore. And I was just like, that's all I'm expecting from it. And if that's what they're going to do, then just count me out. Because at a certain point, it's almost like, am I watching a snuff film? Like, what am I doing?
Yeah, at some point, where does it draw the line from, like, kink to actual gore, Like, where's the line? It's, like, so thin that it's just not very obvious.
That's the problem I have with the Terrifier ones, is that if there's no story, then you're not having the gore and the nudity, like, connect with each other. If you're just showing that for, like, mindless reasons, to me it'll feel like watching a snuff film.
Yeah.
So it's just like, what are you doing?
Snuff films are better than that too.
Sure. Yeah, you're watching that. You're watching one, and you're just like, are they really gonna kill that guy? Like,
I mean, isn't the point of snuff films for it to be, like, almost real?
Almost. Sometimes, possibly.
I don't know which movie it is. It's like this really controversial one of, like, a girl that got kidnapped and was getting tortured the entire movie. I don't know which one it is.
50 Shades of Grey.
That's all right. That's not snuff. That's smut. That's full on kink.
Yeah, kink that is not good at all. But I rest my case. No, there's films out there, like, there's Cannibal Holocaust that is very controversial because They made it feel like they were actually killing real people, which they didn't, but they did kill real animals. And it was just like, yeah, that's where I draw the line. And this was before I think PETA existed. And there's this documentary series on Shudder called Cursed Films, and they cover that one, and they cover the actors, and they're just like, yeah, we actually killed. They killed a muskrat. They killed a turtle.
What?
And yeah, and they're just like, yeah, we don't know why the hell we agreed to that. So then they had the director there. They interviewed the director, and the director was just like, but it's all film. It's, it's all for the film. It's just like, wow, you're one of those people.
No.
Yeah, I was just
no
like,
film
dude,
needs
no.
you to be killing nothing.
Yeah, no.
Nothing.
Well, and even what was so shocking is that they interviewed two of the actors. They tried getting a third, but they couldn't find him. And they said, like, the other two actors, they said, like, yeah, we had probably one or two conversations with him since then, and he regrets doing it because he was part of the turtle killing, and he's like, I never forgave myself for that. Like, why did I agree to do that? So they couldn't find the guy. So it's like, wow, the fact that something like this actually made one of the actors like almost drop off the face of the earth. It's, yeah, you fucked up. That's on you. But yeah, there's a lot of films like that. I mean, yeah, there's just a lot of films like that.
I'm not a big fan. I know, I just don't know what movie this one's called that I keep trying to mention, and it's not 50 Shades of Grey, Trevor.
365 days? Because if you heard of 365 days?
No.
Oh my god. That's basically about, it's much like 50 Shades of Grey, but instead of this case, it is about a guy who kidnaps a woman and basically says, by the 365th day, you will have Stockholm Syndrome and you will love me. That's exactly what that movie is. And yeah, that's actually the entirety of the movie. But if that wasn't bad enough, they made it a trilogy. And they came out like the last couple of years. Like I think the third one came out last year or something like that. But they're international films, so that's probably why. I haven't heard of them. But yeah, lovely pieces of art. Very, very lovely.
Yes.
Very not insane and creepy, and should be obliterated.
Yeah, totally not like super creepy men trying to, fantasize about kidnapping women and hoping they fall in love with them. Probably not creepy or nothing.
Well, and something that I hate is they of course that's not okay. Absolutely 100%. No,
obviously
not.
Okay.
But apparently if you have shitloads of money and you are hot, apparently it's okay. And
I guess people didn't mind it since the actor is actually really attractive. But it doesn't justify the fact that he did kidnap a random woman that he liked and was like, you're going to fall in love with me in a year.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't really... I guess for some deranged women, that would be nice,
Mm-hmm.
I guess it would be nice if all men looked like this actor, but that doesn't make it any better. I wouldn't want to get kidnapped and then be told that in a couple months I'll be in love with him because I'll be mentally ill.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you'll have Stockholm Syndrome, so you're like, oh, well, they're actually a nice guy. You're at a party, like, so how'd you guys meet? Oh, he kidnapped me. What? Yeah, it was so romantic.
Yeah, it isn't. Yeah, he took me off my favorite street, you know, Delusional Boulevard. I mean, how romantic could that be, you know?
That should be an actual street. Delusional Boulevard.
Boulevard. I would love to live just right next to it, you know, corner.
You're on the corner of it, so you just walk the curb and then you're on the street.
I'm on the street. I mean, I don't understand how people come up with these things, but at the same time, I don't know why anybody gave the green light for it either. You know, all around.
I mean, I don't understand why they gave the green light for a lot of things, but you know, I guess there's audiences for it. I don't understand it. You know,
yeah,
I don't understand it. I think it's offensive in a lot of ways, but I guess there's an audience for it.
I guess so. I don't know. I think it all just comes down to people that have weird, like, sexual kinks. I think it really just comes down to those type of people, because there's been a lot of instances where men have kidnapped women, and those women usually never come out alive, or they get, you know, a lot of bad things happen to them that I really don't want to mention right now. But it's not a fun thing. It's funny when it's made fun of in a way that they think that we're gonna be okay with it. It's not okay. You shouldn't kidnap anybody regardless of age, sex, or anything. It's not funny, you know. It's not. And I know there was this kidnap case where it was a married couple that kidnapped a random girl that was hitchhiking, held her captive for 3 years, did horrible things to her, and at some point the wife was just like, all right, I think this is enough. You know, at some point you have to like be like, should we really be keeping this kidnapped woman in our basement? You know, like, I don't know.
After 3 years, you finally said, like, yeah, I think what we did was wrong. It's like, wait, hold on. That took you 3 years to figure that out?
Really? Like, from what I do know from this case, it's they put her down in the basement, and they'd had this box that they would lock up, and it was just her face. It was like a face box thing, and they'd chain her to it, and then they'd handcuff her so she wouldn't be able to escape. Like the first year, and then after the 3rd year, they let her walk around the house. Like, it took them 3 years to be like, okay, I think we can trust her not to escape and run out. You know?
Yeah, sure.
It's really weird. I don't know. I feel uncomfortable even reading about.
Oh, I know.
Stuff like that.
People are great, aren't they?
I know, right? Again, I don't understand how any of this shit gets greenlit.
And yet people still ask me why the hell I'm so introvert. It's just like, look around. Look at people.
Say hi to the wrong guy, and all of a sudden you're in the back of his van.
Yeah.
It don't matter.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just whatever. It's bad. It's crazy. So let's get off of that topic.
Oh wow, we really went dark there, didn't we?
Well, yeah, but you know, the world is dark. What can you do? Yeah. But the trailer for Grand Theft Auto 6 came out, and it has already broken records.
Yes, actually, let me see where the view count is at.
When I watched it, it was released 2 hours later after I watched it, and I think it hit 6 million. So then I checked back an hour later, and it hit like 20 some odd. I think they said it's the highest grossing like trailer that's not like music on YouTube.
That's crazy. That's right. So it is currently sitting at 81 million views.
That's 81 million views. Yeah. That's just nuts. Yeah. And you want to see something here's something that's crazy. Yeah. That hit 81 million views in right now 20 hours. When the trailer for Grand Theft Auto 5 in a total of 12 years has 98 million.
Hey.
So Grand Theft Auto 6 in 20 hours made it 81 when 5 made almost 100 in 12 years. view counts were
That's
different back then.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, what I'm liking about it is they're taking it back to Vice City, and it even just from the trailer, I was looking at it going like, this looks a lot like Florida, and then I looked it up and like, yep, because it is
Florida.
because it is Florida. So it just went like, oh well, oh boy, let's hope we can get some more Florida man.
I mean, where could you technically get away with Grand Theft Auto than Florida itself? You know, I feel like it's a good place to start. You know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and then like, you know, you had San Andreas, and then 4 was Liberty City, which I forget where that took place, and then GTA 5 was obviously, you know, Los Santos, which was clearly Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Clearly, I mean, the fact that I drove to LAX so many times in that game, and I'm just like, yeah, this is LAX. It's not as big, but it's still LAX, but okay. Yeah. And yeah, we went to the Santa Monica Pier, and it's like, yep, it totally is.
I don't understand why they couldn't just say Los Angeles. I mean, it just probably is a reason.
They probably had to like actually ask like the city of Los Angeles, like mayors and stuff like that, to get,
because I mean, at the end of the day, approval. It is a game about crime. I mean, I don't think any city wants to be promoting crime regardless.
Well, yeah, it's like Los Angeles, what do we call it, Los Angles. That'll avoid a lawsuit.
Yeah, I mean, who said it was Los Angeles? Just because it's spelled almost similarly, huh?
Yeah.
You have no case. Case thrown out.
Let's see. Los Animales.
Yes.
Does that work?
I mean, it does. You'd have to sue the whole entire Spanish system in order to get a case. I don't know.
Yay. But yeah, GTA 6, and then coming out next year, and you know, people aren't people are excited for it, but I've been mostly seeing people saying like, we gotta wait another year for this game. It's just like, well, yeah, it's December. Like, it wasn't gonna drop like right now.
Yeah, I don't know why people thought that. If had it dropped this year, it would have 100% been bundled with the console.
Yeah,
100%.
Well, and then the fact that I think they're working on new consoles now. They
don't know about that. They just
but
this.
They did say that it will come out. The only 2 consoles that they confirmed that it will be out for is the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series. So I don't know like what's going on with it past that, like if it will be on like other consoles. So
I'm hoping they do PC, but
yeah.
I mean, I'm also not getting my hopes up at all.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know. We'll see. I was talking with some friends of mine. They were saying like, what do you think is going to happen with GTA Online? And was like, well, they may, what they may do is just keep updating online in 5, and then once 6 comes out, maybe they'll slowly move online into 6. Like maybe, but
maybe,
I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, I'm hoping.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens with that. But yeah, I've seen people meme it to hell. Like one of them was saying it was a whole bunch of pictures of military salutes, and they were saying to the gamers who didn't see the GTA 6 trailer on launch.
Oh, that's right. They were supposed to release it today. But apparently the son of the Rockstar CEO or something like that.
Yeah, I think so.
Leaked it or something like that.
Yeah.
The son
I think they said they found it.
So they were forced. Yeah, oh yeah. And then they were forced to like release it.
Yep.
The same day that it, this little fucker released it,
Yep.
I'm sure that man is grounded for the rest of his life.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, so we finally got the trailer, and yeah, it looks gorgeous. But we were all expecting that, and so we'll see what happens in the coming year. So yay!
Yay! Can't wait.
Oh my god! I just got news about this. The Super Bowl will also be televised on Nickelodeon.
Why? It's the Super Bowl.
Football has been getting big with the kids. I mean, like this year they did a football game that they worked with Disney and had it all like Toy Story.
It's cute.
But SpongeBob and Patrick will co-host for Nickelodeon's Super Bowl event, and will be helped by Sandy Cheeks holding forth from the sidelines, Larry the Lobster providing live commentary, and Dora the Explorer and Boots discussing penalty calls when they arise. Why? I don't really give a shit. But, okay.
I'm not a football fan. I'll say this much. I'm not a football fan. Whenever people ask me what my favorite football team is, I just go straight to the Niners. I don't know what the fuck the Niners do. I don't know what their whole thing was.
Cheaters.
But I just say Niners. That's all I say.
Well, I mean, I'm not big into football either, but I know like a bunch of people. They've asked me, like, hey, like, what's your favorite football team? And I'm just like, well, what's yours? And then they say it, and I'm just like, sure, whatever. They're, yeah.
I'm great. Me too, bro.
Yeah. And I basically get like a high five or a thumbs up from everybody.
Yeah, great. That's good.
So
nice.
I don't piss off anybody.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the question, like I've seen a bunch of people ask actors, like, what was your favorite project to work on? And the safe route is for the actor to say, this current one. The current one.
Yeah, that's the easiest answer to go for,
Yeah. And yeah, it's just like, yep, you'll get people to watch it, and then when your next project is in the works, you can just say, yep, that's the current one. Like, this is it. So yeah, that's the easy way, but yeah, like, okay, like, I don't really care about football, or mainly just sports. I don't really care for. I mean, going to the actual like stadiums is cool. Like, going to a baseball game is pretty cool. Going to a football game is pretty cool too. But I would say, if you want less chaotic, then definitely baseball. Football, everyone around you is just like almost like jocks in high school, where they're like the high five group, and they're just so loud to each other, and I'm just like, guys, can you just stop, please, for 10 seconds? No, that's too hard to ask. Okay. Hockey fans, it depends on how well the team is doing. If the team is doing so well, they will be loud. If the team is sucking, they'll be quiet. Basketball, it goes either way. It depends on if their team has the ball. If the team has the ball and they keep making baskets, they get all like hyper, and then when they don't have the ball, then it's kind of all quiet. So I don't know. Sports to me, it's just kind of like, while it's cool to go to the actual like stadiums and the like arenas is cool and all, but I'd much rather just watch it on TV.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think I've ever been to one baseball game.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty chill. Usually the stadiums are empty if nobody wants to come, but overall it's a pretty good experience. You just have to make sure that you wear sunscreen and bring a hat or an umbrella because it's hot outside.
Well, I've been to Dodger Stadium. Dodger Stadium is actually it is very nice. I recommend that play. I've been to Dodger Stadium. I've been to Coors Field, which is where the Colorado Rockies play. I've been to Angel Stadium, which is where the Angels play, but I haven't seen a baseball game there. I went there to see Monster Jam, which was awesome. But yeah, that was a nice place. Yeah, Dodger Stadium. It's a nice feeling, like you're watching the Dodgers play, and you have a Dodger dog in your hand, and you have a soda or a beer in your other, and you're sitting back and you're just watching it and just going like, this is actually quite nice. It's very, very chill and relaxing. If you want just chaotic, then go to a football game. And especially college football, where everyone around you is like in your face. Like when I went to see went to Empower Field in Denver, which is where the Broncos play. The fans there are pretty ruthless at times. So yeah, I was just going like, yeah, I mean, it's cool to actually like watch a football game, like your eyes literally like watching the field. That's cool, but this is kind of like I just rather watch it on TV. And yeah, and it doesn't help that I'm not really super into sports. I mean, I'll watch it just to watch it, but I don't like follow the stats. I don't follow players. I don't follow news about a lot of stuff. Like, oh, this player traded to this team. It's just like, I don't really care.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, once in a while, it's fun as an experience, but from there, it's not like I want to be wearing like a t-shirt about a favorite sports team every day.
Yeah.
Not one of those people that puts a bumper sticker on their car. Says
nope. Or they get tattoos of their team.
Oh god.
Yeah, and I'm just like, okay. What if you don't like them anymore? What are you gonna do now?
Exactly.
So yeah, no. Yeah, I mean, sports. It's, to me, I watch it for like just mindless entertainment. I mean, it's fun to watch them because yeah, it's like, okay, just put on the game and just relax. But to me, I'm not into like any teams, and I'm into like sports, like die hard into it. So it's just kind of like I'd rather just watch it just to watch it and just enjoy what I'm watching, instead of being on one side of the spectrum and basically yelling at the other team to go away. But whatever.
Yeah, like whatever. You're right.
Yeah.
Like,
oh. Yeah, well, but yeah. So kaiju stuff. What what's your experience with like kaiju stuff? Like when did you start like noticing it when you were growing up?
I mean, not a lot, I'll be honest with you. I think it was just more recent stuff that I started to notice kaiju in general. Like the first one obviously was Godzilla. I think that's primary kaiju movie right there. And then from there it was that one other suspense thriller movie that you mentioned, the one with the fog.
The fog. Trying to think. I mean, yeah, there was like the Godzilla versus Kong, Kong Skull Island, the first Godzilla movie, the one from the '90s that made no sense. But yeah, then you had like all those like crossover ones where you can clearly tell it's people in costumes. Like those I can just look at and go like, yeah, this is just special.
True. I mean, I was talking about Cloverfield.
Oh, Cloverfield. Yeah, Fog. I was thinking like, what? I don't. What movie is that? Well, actually, what's interesting about Cloverfield is the when they were coming up with the idea for that, the only thing they had that America had when it came to kaiju stuff was the '90s Godzilla movie, and it was so bad that they were like, "Yeah, let's fix this." So, yeah, I still love Cloverfield. Does it? Does the story work in a lot of places? No. Is there a lot of parts where I'm going, yeah, I wouldn't do that? Absolutely. But is it suspenseful as hell? Absolutely.
I agree. But, I mean, it was a decent movie, though.
Yeah. But I personally, I personally still dig it, even though a lot of it doesn't work. And it hits a certain part where if you don't go with it, then the movie's over.
Yeah, basically. I mean, the only other movie I know that's kaiju would be Pacific Rim.
And that movie is basically just giant monsters fighting giant robots. That's basically what that movie is.
Yeah, I mean, it's good.
I saw that movie once. And it was when it came out. And
dang.
Yeah. And it was just like, okay. Like, yeah, it's cool.
There's two.
I didn't see the second one.
Oh no, it's actually pretty good.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I liked it.
I have to rewatch the first one. Because it's Guillermo del Toro. I'm just going like, okay, I'll watch it again. Because I like his stuff. Yeah, I mean, and then what was interesting about Pacific Rim was that Guillermo del Toro like watched all those movies back in the day, so yeah, it was very much like influenced. So yeah, yeah. When it comes to kaiju stuff, like I remember watching. Yeah, I remember watching the '90s Godzilla. And I went, even when I was little, I was going, what the hell is going on?
It's not that bad.
Yeah. But then I saw the I think like reboot they did in theaters, which it was like the 2013 2014 or something like that. That kind of kickstarted the thing we got now. Yeah, I saw that in theaters, which that was quite cool. Yeah, like I said, I just wish it had more Godzilla in it, because he really is only in it for like the last hour, and it's like, yeah, can we get more of him? But it was done by um, oh shoot, name's escaping me. He went on to do Rogue One, and then most recently this year, The Creator, which yeah,
okay.
yeah, the Gareth Edwards.
Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce it either, but yes, around there.
Yeah, Gareth Edwards. Yeah, okay, not totally insane. I said totally not insane.
I think we could just take out totally out of there.
Whatever. But yeah, he went on to do Rogue One, which honestly I think was the best Star Wars film they did in years, or especially in recent years. And then did The Creator this year, which was really good. It on the surface it seems like it's another like oh, beware of technology kind of thing, but it's actually a lot more than that. And I was like, wow, this is actually a lot deeper than I thought it was. And wow, this is really good. So yeah, then I didn't see Skull Island in theaters. I saw that like way later. And I was like, it's fun. Has 3 people involved in the MCU. So, okay.
I mean,
come on, it had your boy Loki.
It did have Loki in it, yeah. You're right.
Yeah, that one. It had Hiddleston. It had Jackson and Larson.
Yes.
So yeah. So it was kind of like it wasn't like Scott Pilgrim for me, where I was going like, oh dude, this has got Captain America in it. Awesome. Oh wait, now it has Captain Marvel in it. Okay. And it just keeps topping itself. Where this one, it was just kind of like, okay, they're all together and they're not doing something Marvel. Like, okay, this should be interesting. But yeah. Well, okay. And then yeah, I just didn't see any of the other ones past that.
Yeah, I mean, there really isn't a lot of kaiju movies. I mean, it's just kind of, that's the basis of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the whole point of them is to just watch, giant monsters just kick the shit out of each other.
I'm pretty sure that's what it translates from. I think it just means big monsters.
Yeah, so it's just, it's almost like I want to go. It's like I really want them to actually like set up like a boxing match. It's like going to see CGI boxing matches.
Who watches that?
A lot of people.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. It's like watching CGI monster boxing. Like you got your like celebrity boxing. This one you have your CGI monster boxing. And yeah, I see it as that. So
I mean, I don't know. That's kind of weird.
It's kind of weird, huh?
Just a little weird. I mean, why not just go to a real boxing match?
Well, because the boxing one, there'll be so much like stupidity thrown in your face that you're just like, okay, I guess I'm going with it.
I guess you're right.
I mean, I wasn't into the WWE, and then I started just like, watching like every now and then, and I'm just like, this is just so ridiculous that I actually am enjoying it. And yeah, it was just like, okay, what are you guys doing here? All right.
I mean, if it's fun, it's fun.
Yeah. Well, yeah. The kaiju movies, I would say, for the 90s Godzilla, that can go away. That's awful. The 2014. That one, I would say maybe average, because it did take a while for Godzilla to show up, but once he did show up, it was just like, yes, see, this is awesome. And I would say Kong Skull Island, probably the same, like about an average. Where it's just like, I mean, there's stuff in here that I do like, but at the same time, it's just kind of like, I'm like, okay, right, whatever, but still enjoyable.
Yeah. I mean, with Kong, I kind of wish they kept it non-futuristic, but at the same time, I kind of understand with the whole Godzilla add-in. But just, I don't know. I feel like with Kong, they could have just kept it normal of him just being a big old monkey instead of having like a futuristic axe in the middle of the second movie.
Mm-hmm. What would you give? Was it Godzilla, King of the Monsters, and then Godzilla versus Kong?
I think with Godzilla, I'd have to give it a... What do we use for above average? Let's see. It's a decent job.
Decent job?
I say decent job. Decent job. I wouldn't go respect. Yeah, I think the first one could get a respect, and then the other couple ones can get a decent job. And the same thing with Kong. Mm-hmm. Just decent job.
Yeah. And then...
What about you?
Godzilla versus Kong would be... Would be decent or respect.
I give that one a respect. More fighting in that one.
Nice. Yeah, I still haven't seen those, so that's why I was just like, so what do you give it?
Decent job and a one singular respect.
Yeah. Well, that works. And then we'll see what they do with the second one next year. Probably.
Well, we won't know.
Probably summer.
April, I think. Yeah, I think that's when. I think they're aiming for April, so we'll see.
Oh yeah, I think it is. It is April. I did see something that there was something else coming out that they said, expected April 12th. Well, I'll be busy that day because that's when Fallout comes out. So I'll be busy.
So you can send me the rain check later.
Yeah, well. But, yeah, so we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens.
Thanks for listening. Follow us on social. Listen to full shows on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Subscribe to the Cinematic Duo YouTube channel. Thanks again for listening.